Welcome to video 7. This one is about searching PubMed with MeSH. We are breaking this into basic and advanced. So this is the basic session about searching PubMed with MeSH. We learned about this in Principle 2, where we learned that we could tag our search term with MeSH. But there is more about MeSH, which is what we will cover in this. How do we go find our MeSH term and search PubMed with the MeSH is what we will be covering. First, we need to find the right MeSH term from the MeSH thesaurus. The same term or concept could be available in different terms like heart arrest or cardiac arrest. So which is the right term we use? This is what we are going to learn by finding the right MeSH terms from the thesaurus. Now, where is this thesaurus? Let's first learn that. This is the PubMed homepage, and here is where is located the MeSH database. What we are going to do is get inside the MeSH database, find our term, and search PubMed with the term right from the MeSH database. Let's go ahead. I click MeSH database. I'm here inside the MeSH database. I have left the main PubMed database. We are still on the PubMed website, but we've come to another area, which is the MeSH database. Here, I'm typing in pregnancy-induced diabetes. Let's remember, I'm not searching PubMed for articles right away. I'm trying to find out if pregnancy-induced diabetes is a MeSH term. Can I tag this with MeSH? I click search. I'm told that the standard term for this term is diabetes gestational, which really means it is gestational diabetes. In the MeSH database, some terms are inverted. Let's not worry about why that is done, but we understand that the standard thesaurus term for pregnancy-induced diabetes is diabetes gestational. In other words, in the PubMed database, if there are articles about pregnancy-induced diabetes, and if we get inside them and look at the MeSH terms, we will find that the indexer has indexed them with diabetes gestational. Back here, we are in the MeSH database, we found this term, and let's understand about this term. Just below the term, we have a small paragraph which is called the scope note for this term. That is, in what kind of context will an indexer use this term as a MeSH term? It says diabetes mellitus induced by pregnancy but resolved at the end of pregnancy, which we know is exactly what pregnancy-induced diabetes is. But the scope note goes on a little further to be very specific. It says, this does not include previously diagnosed diabetics who become pregnant, that is, who later become pregnant after their diagnosis of diabetes, which could have been any time in their lives. For articles that describe such patients, the MeSH term is pregnancy in diabetics. In these scope notes, whatever is in capitals, they are all MeSH terms. So, pregnancy in diabetics describes articles about women who are diabetic and later become pregnant. Let's look at one more example. In the MeSH database, I searched for the word spectacles and I found that the MeSH term is eyeglasses. What does the scope note say? A pair of ophthalmic lenses in a frame, etc. It ends with the purpose is to aid or improve vision. More specifically, it does not include goggles or non-prescription sunglasses, for which the MeSH term would be eye protective devices. So we need to come to the MeSH database, carefully look at the scope note and figure out if the term we chose is correct. I had earlier said that once we find our MeSH term, we can do our PubMed search right from there. So now we will learn how to do that. I've taken yet another term. I searched for ventilator associated pneumonia in the MeSH database. I click search. I get the term as pneumonia ventilator associated. As I said, some terms are inverted. Now on the right side, you could see something called the PubMed search builder, which is actually the PubMed search box kept here for our convenience of use. Once we find our MeSH term, all that we need to do is to say add to search builder, which means we are saying to the search engine here, add this term to the search builder. When we click that button, it automatically puts in pneumonia ventilator associated MeSH, which is what we would have had to do if we had to click and go back to the PubMed database and type all this all over again. Instead, we just click add to search builder and it automatically is fed in. Now that it is in the PubMed search box, all that we need to do is to click the search PubMed button, which is here. Once we click this, the page will automatically refresh, take us back to PubMed, where the search term was fed in with the tag MeSH, and we've got some over 2000 results about ventilator associated pneumonia. You can see in the second case, the title simply says the author replies. If you carefully look at the bibliographic details, there's no abstract. But this term will be in the list of MeSH terms, and that's why we get this one. Let's move ahead. If I want to search with two terms, I want to find items in PubMed about asthma and bronchitis, both conditions. Let's go ahead. First, I feed in the first term in the MeSH database, which is asthma, and then click search. This time I've got 11 results, different MeSH terms. You can see the first one is asthma, the second says occupational asthma, the third is aspirin-induced asthma, and so on. There are more specific asthmas. How did these results come up? It's the word search principle in the MeSH database. In the MeSH term and scope note, wherever the word asthma is there, it has brought it out. We want the first term asthma. We select it. There's a checkbox on the left. We select the term and say add to search builder. If we got a single term as a result, as we did with ventilator associated pneumonia, there's no selection because there's only one term. We could straight away click add to search builder. Here, because there were 11 terms, we selected the first and clicked add to search builder. When we click that, it types in asthma and in square brackets MeSH. That is, it has tagged the term asthma with MeSH. Now, we want a search with bronchitis included as well. So we don't click search PubMed at this point. It's very important that we build our search in that search builder. So what do? We erase the word asthma from the main MeSH search box and we add the second term bronchitis. Okay. We are still in the same page. We just erased asthma, typed bronchitis, click search. Now the page will refresh and we have bronchitis. Again, as in asthma, we had more specific bronchitis terms lower, but we selected the main term bronchitis. We need to add this to the search builder. We also have the option to change the Boolean operator. The default is AND. If we use AND, we are going to get results where all of them are about asthma as well as bronchitis together. If we change it to OR, we are going to get articles about asthma or about bronchitis or about both together. In this case, I'm retaining the and I say add to search builder. What happens? It types in asthma MeSH and bronchitis MeSH. All my results are going to be about both these diseases discussed together in the same records. I click search PubMed and here we are, asthma MeSH and bronchitis MeSH. I've got 5082 results where they all discuss asthma as well as bronchitis together. Let's move on. How do we use subheadings? You may remember that we had used subheadings like etiology or drug therapy in earlier slides that we had seen. Let's see how do we find these subheadings and add them to our search. In this case, I searched for asthma. You may remember we got 11 results. If I simply selected asthma and added it, I'd be searching for everything, every aspect of asthma. I need one or more subheadings of asthma. How do I view the subheadings? I need to click the term, not just select it, click the term. When I click it, I see it in full details with all subheadings available. So I need to choose one or more subheadings and then add to search builder. I'm choosing diet therapy, drug therapy. I want information about these two subheadings or aspects of asthma. When I click add to search builder, it feeds into it asthma slash diet therapy MeSH or asthma slash drug therapy MeSH. Why did it feed in with or? I selected two terms to be added to search builder. So the search engine is programmed that when we select both before adding, we want information about both. So it puts in the Boolean operator or. Now we click search PubMed. The page refreshes and here we are, asthma slash diet therapy MeSH or asthma slash drug therapy MeSH. I have more than 31,000 results, some of which are about diet therapy of asthma, some are about drug therapy of asthma, some cover both together. Further, let's do a recap. First, we find our term in the MeSH database. How did we reach the MeSH database? On the PubMed homepage, there is a link to it. Once we are inside, we type in our term, search it, and find the most apt term for our concept. Once we find it, we add it to the search builder and then click search PubMed. We are taken back to PubMed where we get the final results. If we are searching, we must remember we search for only one term at a time in the MeSH database. If I want to do a search about asthma and bronchitis, I can't type asthma and bronchitis or asthma or bronchitis in the MeSH search box. I first type asthma, add it to the search builder, then type in the second term, add it to the search builder, choose my Boolean operator and search PubMed. The last point is, when we are searching for subheadings, we can choose more than one subheading for one MeSH term and then add it to the search builder. That's the right way of applying more than one subheading. Choose them all together and then add it to the search builder and search PubMed. So this was the basic way in which we found a MeSH term, maybe added subheadings and added them to the search builder and then searched PubMed. Thank you, and we will move on to more advanced details about MeSH in the next video.